Okay, so I had written in July 5th, okay? And at first they were really helpful. So here's Miss Green, and she says, can you fill out the attached transcript request form and write on the form that you want a non-attendance letter, sign and scan it back to me. Thank you, sincerely. Okay. And here we see, Dave, I believe Stephanie has a non-attendance letter sample, so this is obviously their policy in order to get it. Right. Okay, and this is Jennifer. Stephanie, can you contact her and complete this request? Admissions has no record of her applying. So she already tells me the information. Thank you, Bill. She's excited and she's got an emoticon. This is genuine. Okay. David writes back, good morning, Jennifer. Can you assist Miss Jones? We have no record of her with an applicant file. Is there anything on your end? David, everything is very helpful. Okay. And I say, okay, I need to find a scanner. Now I aim to do this. I was wondering if you'd also look up Tara Jones, thank you so much for your time. Are those your names? No, one was, but I had a name change and the variations might be leading to the confusion. She doesn't say anything, okay? I'm like, I scanned it below. I wanted to see if it was necessary for the Social Security, since I'm not actually pulling up a record. If it's necessary, I can put it. I prefer not to. Thank you for this help. And I asked her a question. Okay, and she doesn't respond. So I didn't sign it because I wanted to know if it was correct, if I could do it without the Social Security. Open. And so what did I ask for right off the bat? I asked for Tora, it's right there, and Tara, okay? And I put Cara, and then she explained if it's not your name, then you can't have it. But she doesn't explain that yet, okay? And I fill out the thing. You have to sign the form. I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to know about the Social Security first, but I just sat and signed it, so you'd be sure it was me. And I sent it to her. Just making, and I don't hear anything. Just making sure you got the attachment. Yes, I did. It's not very friendly. Yes, I did, and I would be happy to do that for you. That makes more sense to me. Could you please look up Cara? Is that your name? I can only look up the information for the legal letter. I'm like, oh, I see. No, I thought it might have been where the confusion was. Is this your correct address? So I'm cooperating. So far, she's cooperating, albeit slowly and very abruptly. I'm like, it's not my current one, it was my previous one. I'm overseas, so I don't know how much, which is why I prefer EDF. I was putting it in the letter since you don't want to use your Social Security. I don't see why the letter took this long, because, oh, I see. Well, the last 4 digits of my Social Security, my autocorrect does this. They, it means and it splits. I don't know why. Well, work is an ID, right? She doesn't answer. She does say, here's your letter. So there, she's already showing she doesn't really listen. I'm like, this is great, only I needed it for Tora and Tara Jones. If you could add Tora, the one with the line through it, which is your legal name, I can only use it for that. And I say all names past and present needed for verification. Tara and Tora. I had a name change in 05, which is true. I just wasn't into that. If you could also include, if you have it, then I never applied, that would be great, which they've already stated so it doesn't breach policy. I would need a copy of court documents showing the name change. You see how abrupt this is? So why did that just change? I can't add that to the letter. I can only state what is on the letter. I'm like, I'm a little confused by your policy. Maybe you could clarify. What I had understood to be your policy was that in order to write a missive without letterhead, I needed to fill out a non-attendance form with a social and date of birth as a means of identification to release what is not a student record, but a non-record verification to me under Tara. I'm assuming you did this because it sufficed as identification. Am I wrong in this assumption? I asked because you only picked one name off the page to verify and now want me to contact a court over the other. Why did the form suffice for the name you chose and not the other you ignored? Is it because my old email address that I'm using says Tara and not Tora? Because if that works as an ID, I can abide by this policy as well. Miss Jones, your original request submitted through administration stated you wanted us to do a letter saying that you've never attended the academy. I asked you to fill out a form, sign, and scan it back to me. Then you stated that there are a few variations of your name and didn't want your social security on the letter. This is already not correct. Why? Because it was prior that I asked and it was on the form, which she ignored. I do the letter and include the address listed on the request form. You tell me that it is not your current address and that you are overseas. Right? I can tell you the reason I used your address was because you stated you didn't want your SSN on the letter. I changed the letter. Then you asked me to look up 2 other names. See, this is incorrect. So her time is incorrect. 2 other names that you want on the letter and don't want me to put on the letter that never applied to USM. I tell you I can't put on the letter that you never applied to USMA and can only put your legal name on the letter. You tell me that you had a name change. I asked for a legal documentation of the name change so I can put the additional names in the letter. You are correct when you say that because you're using an email that says Tara Jones that I did the letter based on that name. So to clear any confusion and to add to different variations of the name of the letter, I'm now asking for legal documentation showing your name in the same manner that I would ask any former cadet or graduate that wanted a documentation from us consisting of name change information. But I'm not a cadet or a former student. Is Tara Jones your legal name? So do you see how she's manipulating the information here? She's gone out of order. She's saying she's like writing this exhausting list for what? What is the purpose of stating it all? It's like as if to act like I'm wasting her time or bogging her down or doing something wrong, but I haven't done anything wrong. Okay, do you understand? So she just wrote way too much and actually didn't answer my question at all. This is indicative of lying. We'll go more into it, but just so you can see. She didn't answer the question, and yet she wrote a fucking novel about how bad I am and apparently wasting her time. Okay. Okay. She then goes on to forward this to other people. Okay, many other people. The whole department. Why? Why would she do that? And that's, I'm surmising here, but to make me feel watched and like I did something wrong. Thank you for that recap. Most appreciated, and thank you for your efforts. When I asked you, what I had asked you is why you ignored Tora on the sheet, instead only picked Tara to confirm, and then said if it's because of the email address and it's a by-the-book policy verification standards, I can arrange that as well. What I was asking is if it's necessary for me to do the same thing again and email you from the Tora account and submit the same form with the same information that you already have now, as it seems to be your policy and non-attendance release. Or if you can just take the required info as it is without an email address. I like to read your policy because I sense that you are annoyed at me asking what I view as a reasonable question. I'm simply trying to have the letter for Tora under the same requirements for release as Tara, since it seems the policy would be consistent. If you want to use the Social Security for both, by all means do. Whatever is easiest for you, but please X out the 2 first sets of numbers. I see you've CC'd some folks. Wonderful. Thank you for the support. Great to know the military's young folks are in such capable hands. I had actually included Tara and Tora and added Kara to the letter before having to ask again because it was ignored. I'd included Kara because I thought it was part of the confusion, but it was never my name. When you explained this, I resigned to it. But it is included on the attachment here for your convenience. I'll include it again below. Hope to get this pesky snag out of this pesky snag with you soon. Thanks again for your help and support. Emoticon. How does she write back? Please send a state or federal ID with legal name is all we need to clarify this issue. Many thanks. Please send your policy. See, so she's ignored my question and she's ignored my request again. Miss Green, this is becoming somewhat dismissive and unprofessional. I've asked you the same question twice and you've deflected and ignored it both times. You ignored my request to view your policy. You're gathering information, including my address, birthday, names, and now want more information. You did not fill out a letterhead for your school. Can you kindly act cooperatively or redirect me to, I know I typos, this phone, sex for typing, the original party who is informative, helpful, prompt, and polite. And no, it doesn't seem what you actually need based on policy, but rather your personal opinion as you change the way this worked midway through arbitrary reasoning. Okay? And I don't hear anything from her. Okay. This then goes on. So she dismisses me, and then I get a thing on how she's not dismissing me. So that lady stops talking to me. Dear Miss Jones, please understand we are trying to help you and also ask that you look at the situation from our perspective. I don't understand why this is getting emotional. In this day and age, we have experienced a number of attempts by individuals to use us as a means to represent themselves as someone they are not. This has forced us to take additional measures to ensure the accuracy of information we provide. I'm not sure why you need this letter, but it appears it may be to help clear you for some type of a requirement to show that you've not been enrolled in another college or this institution. I reviewed all email that Miss Green has sent you, and I don't believe any of them were dismissive or non-professional. She doesn't answer my questions, but okay. I asked her to obtain further identification once you start to ask the additional names to be, but I ask it from the beginning. So they're going out of order. It's on the sheet. I ask it before, and then they go, well, we asked this after this. No, you didn't. I asked it from the beginning. Once you asked for additional names to be added to the letter, it was out of normal course of operations for our office, which requires greater review. Please provide the documentation request, or we'll consider the attached document as meeting your needs to close this action. So they're already threatening to close it because I've asked a question. You may have the agency requesting this documentation contact us directly. Thank you for understanding. Dr. Dalton. Right, and when people throw that tends to be defensive. Okay. Hello, and thank you for responding to my email. I can appreciate that you feel sentimentally towards your colleague, and I am sure your academy is full of best intention. I regret to inform you that neither of you have answered my question. I'd appreciate it if you did. Why are you releasing information apparently in violation of your privacy policy without ID for one name and then requiring more information than is standard for the other? There were 2 names I needed addressed on that sheet. Miss Green chose to ignore your own form's inclusions.